In order to weed out confusion in adjudicating disputes via arbitral tribunals, the Delhi High Court has issued important judgment. The Delhi High Court has issued a series of directions to avoid multiplicity of the arbitration proceedings. It has also pulled up parties saying that constitutions of the separate arbitral tribunal is mischief. In order to curb the mischief of parties constituting multiple arbitral tribunals, the Delhi High Court has passed a series of directions after relying upon the judgment of the Supreme Court in Dolphin Drilling Limited (VONGC). Before passing the directions, the single bench of Justice Pratibha M. Singh observed that though there is no doubt that multiple arbitrations are permissible, it would be completely contrary to the public policy to permit parties to raise claims as per their own convenience, while provisions of the CPC do not strictly apply to arbitral proceedings. The observations of the Supreme Court in Dolphin shows that when an arbitration clause is invoked, all disputes which exist at the time of invocation ought to be referred and adjudicated together. In order to resolve the issue of multiplicity in arbitration process, the court passed some directions too. It said that parties ought to inform court if court proceedings are on the contract. Parties ought to inform the court if any Section 34 petitions of the same contract is pending. For appointment of arbitrator, the parties ought to inform if any tribunal stands constituted. Appointing authorities ought to refrain from appointing separate arbitrators for same contract. The history of the dispute is marked by the invocations of multiple arbitral tribunals adjudicating upon different issues raised by the parties at different stages. Before delving into the merits, the court highlighted that it is multiplicity which renders the entire arbitration process to be complex. The court further highlighted that repeated steps have been taken in judgments and by amendments to the law to make the system efficient, but more needs to be done. The court directed that the present order shall be sent to the Registrar General for being placed before the Chief Justice for considering if any modifications are required to be made in the rules of Delhi High Courts framed under the Arbitrations and Conciliation Act 1996. Court had asked for the present order to be sent to the Secretary, Ministry of Law and Justice, Government of India and the Chairman, National Highway Authority of India. Bureau Report.